Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. One of the best Godzilla movies ever, like bar none. This is one of the best entries in the Heisei series. The plot involves a group of time travelers from the 23rd century who go back to the year 1992 AD. The reason they traveled back in time is to stop Godzilla from existing, because he's gonna destroy Japan in the future. So they team up with a group of people in 1992 to go back to the 1940s and stop the original Godzillasaurus from being mutated into Godzilla. Oh, and this leads us to a scene where a few bad American actors see the future people's ship fly by. The acting's not very good, but it's actually still a pretty amusingly funny scene once you get past the bad acting.
It did look like it was from another planet, but... Shall we report it, sir?
What, that we're being invaded by little green men from outer space? Let's just keep it as our secret. You can tell your son about it when he's born, Major Spielberg.
Sir, yes, sir!
I always found it pretty interesting that we got to see the original Godzilla before he was Godzilla, a Godzillasaurus who was attacked by a group of American soldiers, while the Japanese soldiers stayed back since the Godzillasaurus was actually fending off the Americans away from their group. Another thing to notice, when the Godzillasaurus roars, it sounds like Gamera? Huh, interesting. Before the Godzillasaurus dies, the Japanese general salutes to the monster for inadvertently saving their lives, shortly before leaving it on the island. Also, this was very important to mention for later. I always felt bad for the Godzillasaurus in this scene. It was such a defenseless animal against our military weapons. Poor thing. Anyways, after the Japanese soldiers leave, the people of the future in 1992 teleport the Godzillasaurus away from the island and replaces him with these three cute little creatures called Dorats. Aww. But after doing this, they return to 1992 to find that the three Dorats were mutated into one being after the bomb dropped, and they became the powerful King Ghidorah. So while Godzilla may not exist anymore, King Ghidorah is still here to destroy everything. It turns out this was the future people's plan all along, to have King Ghidorah destroy all of Tokyo, and we're nearly successful at eradicating Godzilla from existence, but surprise bitch, bet you thought you'd seen the last of him. A new Godzilla was created using a nuclear sub, and this one's even bigger and more powerful than the last Godzilla. So with Godzilla back, Ghidorah can finally be disposed of. This leads to one of the greatest monster fights in Godzilla history. Seriously, it kicks ass seeing Godzilla and Ghidorah go at it with newer special effects. I also love the way Ghidorah looks too. This was such a great improvement of his original look. It just fits right into the 90s. It almost shows how timeless his design always was. So Godzilla attacks this mofo to the ground again, and even blasts his middle head off. Holy shit. Afterwards, Godzilla just fries his wings off and causes Ghidorah to fall into the ocean. Well, Ghidorah was taken care of, but we still got Godzilla around destroying everything. This ends up leading to a pretty gruesome scene in the movie. Remember the military general I mentioned who gave a salute to the Godzillasaurus for saving his and his soldiers' lives? Well, several decades later, he recognizes that Godzilla is the same monster he encountered in World War II, and feels incredibly attached to him. So much so that he allows Godzilla to do this to him. Jesus fucking Christ, that was brutal. Who else has taken a Godzilla atomic blast straight to the face? Holy shit. God, that's how I hope I die. With Godzilla having killed Ghidorah and wreaking more havoc in Japan, the good guys from the future come up with an amazing plan. In the future, they take the remains of Ghidorah from the ocean and reconstruct him into a fucking robot, Mecha King Ghidorah. Oh my god, that is awesome. And it leads to a pretty excellent fight. This is such a great movie. You know what makes it even better? The soundtrack. This is the first Godzilla movie in 16 years to be composed by the one and only Akira Ifukube. It's pretty funny how he decided to come back to this series. For both Godzilla 1984 and Vs. Biollante, he was approached to do the music for those movies, but he declined both times. It wasn't until after Vs. Biollante when his own daughter said to him, "So why don't you just do the next one yourself?" So he did. He returned to score the soundtrack for this movie, two of its sequels, and Vs. Destroya. It's great having the master back to work his craft, and it greatly helps the movie on multiple occasions. And the movie has probably my favorite arrangement of the Godzilla theme ever. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah is one of the best Godzilla movies ever made. Some of the best practical effects work in any of these movies, some of the best monster fights ever put to screen, an amazing film score, and a solid human story with a lot of layers added to it. This is one of my favorites in the franchise, and I highly recommend this to anyone, especially if you're a Godzilla fan and you somehow have not seen this movie. It really is one of the greats. Excellent film. Next time we're gonna look at another pretty solid movie. So I'll see you guys then, and thanks for watching.